Welcome TNA Nation to the first edition of Impactful Video Commentary. This is going to be a prologue or an epilogue to Impactful Commentary, which we have every Thursday right here on TNA Nation. Where we discuss, joke, comment, review about what we're seeing on the Pop TV network. This is our first one, so I'm not quite sure how to do it. This is a thing where it's gonna be a basically commentary on what I think about the show, and then fused in with comments made on the official forum. So we'll see how this goes, and let us go. For those of you who are wondering why I haven't been as active on the thread, on the commentary, or on the channel, it's because I've gone with what I think I enjoy the most, which is movie commentary. So, but we'll get to that later. Let's get to tonight's Impact showing. Tonight's show is a kind of interesting show because it kind of goes into everything that's wrong with the new regime and everything that's right, and then we'll try to see how it balances out. And in between, I will be reading commentary from everyone who posted. For those of you who didn't read what I wrote today, this is the big special. This is what we're leading towards. I'd like to give a big shout out to Jar Young last week for taking over for me. I had a Baywatch screening, so I couldn't do Impact commentary. And in all honesty, even if I didn't have to do that, we'll get to that later. Big shout out to Charles Brody, who is the one who kind of made me feel bad that I missed last week. Me and him go a long way without ever even meeting each other. Shout out to him. So, with that out of the way, let's get to the show. Opening segment, it's as Impact as Impact can be now that we're in the new regime. They play the opening credit, or actually they play the opening montage, and now it seems to be fueled with theme songs from former wrestlers, including Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, Sting. It's perfectly fine. It's a showcase of the wrestlers that have run through or who have been through Impact. So I didn't have much of a problem with that. They did highlights of what the show had to do last week. Perfectly fine. They did it in a well way. And then they go into the Impact new theme song, which I'm not quite as on board on, but I haven't seen it as much because I've been missing the beginning of Impact a lot. So that's perfectly fine. So the show actually starts with a segment where Bruce Pritchard walks into the ring with Tyrus. Bruce Pritchard's character has a lot of problems, considering he's been dressing down EC3 and just been being a dick. I know they're trying to portray Carter as a heel, but it's kind of hard when the authority figure is an asshole. So there's that. And then he came down the ring with Tyrus, which no one ever explained. So it's kind of hard to follow what was going on and why. So it's one of those moments where it's just like, I don't think any of this makes sense. And of course he commentates about the main event, which is supposed to be a #1 contendership for the world title at Slammiversary, but at the same time, we've had this convoluted backstory about how Magnus said it, that his GFW title, and we'll get to GFW title a little bit later on, is a golden ticket to the world title, but he lost it to Alberto Del Patron. Yet somehow, this is a match between James Storm, Magnus, and EC3. Where is Patron in all of this? This is the part where the convolutedness makes it absurd. And then, of course, while Pritchard is, doing his run around, EC3 comes out first. No, Lashley comes out first, because he gets called out by Pritchard. Lashley is Lashley. Ever since 2016, I don't know what Billy Corgan did to him. I don't know what he realized in himself. He is fucking amazing in anything he does, really. He is fucking gold. This is the character Vince McMahon wanted back in 2016, 18, whatever. Whenever the hell he had the match with Umaga at WrestleMania with Donald Trump and whatever. This is definitely the character he wanted, but he didn't get. Of course, he starts talking. EC3 comes out. EC3 goes into his rock mode where he says jokes that are corny, don't make sense, and they're just not funny. And it's just a montage of people running in and disrupting each other. James Storms come out. Magnus comes out. It is the segment you kind of think you would get to start off the show, especially with everyone vying for the world title. It's kind of not needed, or it's kind of convoluted, and then all of them want to attack each other, and then Bruce Pritchard says, no, no, no. The main event will be no DQ. And if any of you hit each other before the main event, you're suspended and you're out of the match. Alright. Wrestling 101, fine. Doesn't bother me. It didn't do anything great. It was what it was. I don't know why it needed to include Bruce Pritchard, but it did, so whatever. We'll move on to the next segment. I'm reading your comments now, people. So I'm not doing anything else. The next match, the next segment was the first match of the night. It was Cam with Salinas in his corner. It was Congo Kong with Laurel Van Ness in his corner versus Muhammad Ashiri. Yeah, he's on this show. We're going to India. They're going to India soon, so get ready to take all of that in. Versus Bracknell Sutter and Ali. This was actually a pretty fine match for what it was. It was definitely a continuous showcasing of Congo Kong. I like his character. You can say whatever you want, that it's racist, whatever, but I think you get away with it by the fact that Laurel Van Ness is an absolute equivalent mixture of Bride of Frankenstein, Harley Quinn, what else did I say? The Joker, Carrie, and any psychopathic woman who she's definitely a misery character, all combined into one, and she plays it so well. She is so insane in the way she acts, her mannerisms. She plays that part to a T. she's freaking lovely. I enjoy watching her every week. Um, Impact Wrestling has definitely done a great job of covering up the fact that Kongo Kong is kind of a racist character and a throwback from the 80s, but at the same time he plays the character well. But at the same time, he's standing around with Laurel Van Ness, who's an absolute complete mess, and you kind of look at her more than him. So I completely give the character a pass for all of those people who say, how can you get away with this in 2017? It's not that bad. She's a train wreck. The match was kind of good. It was a showcase. The ending I question, because did we really need to have a safe bet for Shera getting pinned by Cam? That's a questionable booking decision. I guess they tried to book their way out of it by having the two groups brawl at the end of the match out the stage, which left all the guys out, and we were left with Laurel at ringside, Salinas, and Allie. So they chased her around the ring, eventually got in the ring, and they got into this long, wide shot of a beatdown, which is 100%, if you know anything about wrestling, if you've seen anything about a wrestling match, you know what's coming up. Someone's going to run in. It was kind of surprising that the person that did run in was Rosemary. Yeah, Rosemary came in to save Allie, but it's one of these TNA run-ins where you know, and the announcers played it up to how they were going to beat up Allie, but you kind of know that it was going to be a swerve and she was going to beat up the heels. So it kind of leaves Rosemary in this weird place, and the audience actually played it up like this was a face turn. So let's see where TNA goes with this. I kind of hope they leave Rosemary as a tweener, but with Salinas holding the GWF women's title and Rosemary holding the Impact Wrestling title, let's see where this goes. The semifinals for the GFW tag team titles. Why does this exist? Don't know. I really don't know. Other than Jeff Jarrett not wanting to admit that GFW is never gonna be a thing, and that's about it. But it was a match with VOW, Veterans of War, the former Crimson along with the other guy, against Bokata and, yeah, you can kill me if I get the name wrong, I think Raha. And the problem with this match is the two Monster Factory champions, tag team champions, who I kind of like the way they look. I kind of like the way the angle is going. The problem is they haven't won one match in Impact. They're 0 for 4. So while I like their look, I like their moveset, we've never been introduced to them as a threat. So as soon as you hear because they came out first, as soon as you hear the VOW music, you know the match is not going in their favor. Which is a shame, because they have a very interesting look, they have a very interesting style. They're one of those old school throwback tag teams, and it kind of sucks. So they're not getting the credit that they deserve. But of course, VOW wins. So next week we have a tag team championship match for the GFW titles, tag titles, that no one has ever won, between the new LAX and VOW. And I don't think that's the best way to go through this. So, the segment wasn't terrible, but it kind of didn't serve any purpose in the grand scheme of things. The next segment was the Josh Matthews segment. For those of you who don't like negativity towards Impact Wrestling, I'm sorry. This is not a good storyline. I don't care about two announcers attacking themselves. I don't. Josh Matthews comes out to announce his partner for Slammiversary. JB comes out. Josh Matthews sounds like he's apologizing before JB can announce that he accepts it. Joseph Parks, who's I have no problem, comes out. But unfortunately, they try to have a match before the Joseph Parks and Josh Matthews can even, touch each other. Scott Steiner's music comes out. Let me repeat that. Scott Steiner comes out. I know him and Jeff Jarrett are friends, but there is no reason in the year 2017 for Scott Steiner to come out to promote a match. None. Sorry, none. That's it. And the segment was more or less along the lines of pushing Scott Steiner and showing him as a badass. Meanwhile, he's wearing a leather jacket and covering up his stomach. Besides that, Scott Steiner hasn't been a thing in well over 2 decades. Bad segment. The next thing up was a promo for the Grand Championship title, along with, where Moose shows this is the greatest title in this is the greatest title in Impact Wrestling, etc. They show him with pictures in Japan, Mexico, things like that, in the independents. It's fine, perfectly serviceable. After that, you see a promo by Eli Drake. Yeah, Eli Drake. Yeah. I just wanted to do that. Where he says he wants to challenge Moose for the Grand Championship next week. Kind of fun. Eli Drake is a star in the making. I totally hope Impact Wrestling takes advantage of him. He's a lot of fun. Moose comes out and tries to attack him for what happened 2 weeks ago when Eli and Adonis attacked him. Pretty fun segment. In the middle of Moose attacking Eli, none other than Chris Adonis comes in to attack him. So they set up a match for next week for the grand title as Eli Drake, yeah, will be facing Moose. And that was kind of interesting. Now we're on to the mixed tag match, which is the semi-main event. And I want to call it semi-main event because it was actually pretty interesting. Eddie Edwards and his wife versus Davey Richards and his wife, Angelina Love Richards. Which they kind of say sometimes and don't other times. I don't know. This is probably the top feud right now in TNA. No, it's not probably. This is. Richards and Edwards feud is absolutely spellbinding. They've done nothing but have good matches. The storyline has been interesting even when the two of them haven't had to be in the same ring together. And this match can just continue to. The only thing I have to say about this is, where does it go? At the end of the day, they have a very good match. Edwards and Richards can do no wrong. But Edwards' wife happens to pin Angelina Love in the match, and then they do a very cool spot where after the match is over, they jump. Obviously, heels jump both of the faces. They handcuff Edwards to the bottom rope, and Richards brings out a table and sets it up. So Love puts Eddie's wife on top of the top rope and power bombs her through the table. So you're left with that conflicting scene of Edwards once again looking at his wife getting beat up, which is absolutely compelling. And they're doing a great job. I don't know how they're going to end this. I'm pretty sure it has to end with Edwards winning, because for most of us who are in the know or who read the dirt sheets, we know Richards is done at the end of the year. He's quit wrestling, supposedly. But this is definitely a journey worth taking. So I'm excited to see where this goes. Then we go to main event time. Main event time is James Storm versus EC3 versus Magnus. This was more or less a handicap match. It was the two heels, Magnus and EC3 versus James Storm. And it actually kind of played out in a kind of brilliant way, because you kind of felt the whole way they were jumping on Storm that he would come out the victor. And it was a well-told match. They had the obligatory multi-man TNA rules where you saw the Tower of Doom. Once again, not a bad spot, and I'm glad they spaced it out more than they used to do. But it's perfectly fine in this segment. Storm had a lot of chance for this match, which is a good thing. So I'm kind of happy with that. But at the end of the day, EC3 wins, and he moves on to Slammiversary, supposedly. We'll see next week what happens when Patron throws his golden ticket into the ring. But that was kind of it for tonight's show. It was kind of a mixed bag. That's all for impactful video commentary. Let me know what you guys think of it. Let me know what you guys want to add. If anyone wants to throw in some pictures that they want added or graphics, let me know. You can reach me at the website. You can reach me by messaging me. It's been a lot of fun. This is a very different environment for me. You can also check out my YouTube page, where we do kind of mainly movie reviews, and that's where my focus has been headed. But don't worry, got you Impact Wrestling fans in mind, and there's a lot of things to be done. So comment, subscribe, message below. Until next time, Impact fans, we'll see you again.